Hi, I'm Cecily Korst. Welcome to the trailer.
The Trailer Talks is brought to you by Imaging DNA, Ideas, Images, Insight. The core of the conversation is the image at imagingdna.com.
I'm Celia Evans. I'm a director and a producer for Sea Star Films production company in Miami Beach.
Awesome. You have a really interesting story, so tell us about your journey thus far.
Where should I begin? When I was a kid, no, right?
Yeah.
I got a writing degree, first off. Let's start with that, from Florida State. And writing has really served me well. It has allowed me to do so many different things in media, from scripting to creating online magazines, to being able to write impactful messages in social media or blogs or anything like that, and really to sell things. Like, that's what I learned about what I do with producing wise anyway, is about putting together projects that can be sold. I think that for people out there that are trying to figure out what they want to do in life, I think that it's really handy to brush up on your sales skills, because I feel that no matter what you're doing, it's always sort of a sell, even if whether you're going for, even just an office job, or you're trying to do digital arts or music, or it's so difficult if you can't sell it, if you can't convince other people that this thing is worthwhile. I've run across so many really brilliant artists and musicians that weren't able to translate their vision into like a sellable good. And that's really, really important, I find.
Wow. So what got you into film to begin with?
I was doing music and writing. I was always kind of doing creative things, but it was really when I worked on putting together packages to sell for other film companies, that I realized, I could really, if I can do that for this company, then I really can do that for myself. And so I just decided to take a stab at it and try to put together some projects and sell them. And, it's really how it began.
So tell me about Sea Star.
So Sea Star Films is a production company that I opened actually in Los Angeles, where you are. I think like 8 years ago now, and then I brought it down to Miami because I love Miami, and I went to school at Florida State. That's at the top of the state, but Miami is such a vibrant city right now, and it's really great for artists, especially fine artists, actually. But there's a real vibrancy here, and there's a really this really creative energy, a raw, really sort of, it's not so industrialized like maybe a New York or LA. There's really this free spirit, raw creative energy going on down here. It's a great time for artists. And so, I brought it down here, and really I was doing commercials. That's really kind of like my main gig, is commercials and infomercials and things like that. But then I got a chance to do this documentary last year, and really this is my first feature-length documentary. And so that's what's been going on.
Wow. And then but you've done like the backgrounds in Fashion Week, and you worked with Lamborghini.
Well, yeah, so I started a show called Planet Fashion TV, and if I backtrack a little bit, I began getting commissioned by different networks, Fashion TV, and to film Fashion Weeks, and that was really fun. And it's such a grind, really. So it would be like me and a camera guy, me and two camera guys running around. And the Fashion Weeks go New York, London, Milan, Paris, and they are back to back. So it's really a month of that. And they start at about 9 in the morning and end at about 9 or 10 at night. And it's just back to back to back to back. I mean, it's such a grind. It seems like kind of glamorous, but it's really such a grind because you're really running around and you're so exhausted. And it's a kind of a really aggressive thing too, because all the press that covers these things are really aggressive. Actually, people are pushing each other and yelling at each other and whatever, and it goes on for a month, and it's really, it's like The Devil Wears Prada times 100. But so I was flying around filming all these fashion weeks really for years, and I had such a catalog of fashion that I thought, well, I met someone actually from Universal who was like, you've got such this big catalog of fashion, why don't you break those up and sort of repurpose it and sell that as license it as a show. And we'll always do that. And we have an online magazine as well, the Global Trend News. Check it out, globaltrendnews.com.
Cool.
But going around to those fashion weeks actually got me jobs. And that's how I met the people that connected the dots for me with this documentary, in fact.
No, so tell us about the documentary, because it's really interesting.
Well, I was covering Milan Fashion Week, and I met a really interesting lady from China, actually, who represents this guy in Japan who's the largest wedding planner in the world. He is, you've never seen anything like it. He does 22,000 weddings a year. Not him personally, but now he's got such a huge organization. And in fact, his company, he was the youngest person in Japan to take a company public on the stock exchange, and it's this wedding planning company.
Wow.
And it's just one of those stories where he hit at the right time. Japan is sort of a place where, first of all, most of the people, are or were Buddhist. So they, historically weddings were pretty no frills. It's kind of, people just kind of came together and, said a blessing and, they were married and that was it. But as people in the East have become more westernized, they really longed for like these lavish Western weddings, with the white gown and the whole thing. And they have these spectacular venues and they go all out with these things. And they're just the most stunning, beautifully executed, high design weddings in the world. And he's based in Japan, Hong Kong, Singapore, China, that whole area. And obviously there's billions of people there, but there in that side of the world, he's massive. So I thought, well, that's really cool. This idea of this guy, he's self-made. He became huge on design, which is interesting. Usually if someone is like the youngest to take a company on the stock exchange and like has this huge conglomerate, it's going to be like a tech field or some sort of, real industry, right? But like wedding planning, like that's, wow, like who is this guy? I really wanted to meet him. And then I met him and he's this funky, cool guy who's like this little surfer. And he's really an iconoclast. And so I felt, what a good, he's a great person to profile. Mm-hmm. So we set off and I followed him around, Japan and really around the world, like Hawaii, and we filmed in Bali and all over the place. The detail quality of what they do is really incredible. And filmed a story about it. And we just wrapped post. This thing has been such an undertaking, but we just wrapped it. It's done. And we are screening it in the Dot Corner at the Cannes Film Festival.
So what's the creative process like for you?
It starts with having the vision in your head and then being able to write that into some sort of form that you can get everyone on board with, so that everyone can have the same vision. That's really, that's the role of like the producer director, is getting everyone involved on your same vision so that it's you know, they see it, they feel it, they know exactly what you see, what you're trying to do.
Right. So you're the maestro of all of it.
Yeah. Yeah. But I mean, being a director is fun. I mean, being the producer is fun, but it's just such the producer is the person who's like kind of stressing out and having to deal with, all the money issues of like the budgets and the whole thing. And yeah, like that's really not that creative. I mean, that's a whole, being a director is more of like having the vision and being, creative about it.
So what is success for you in the future?
I'd like to grow this company, Sea Star Films, in Miami to be, a really massive film studio, and to do more projects and, represent really amazing creative people. I love, love, love representing talent. And when I say representing, I mean like coming across great cinematographers and editors and writers and like really giving them that room to just thrive. I love that. I love really creating an arena for highly creative people to just soar. So I'm hoping that this company continues to grow and to be that place.
One of the trends that I've been seeing is more women in film and more women talking about women in film. So what's your experience?
Women rock. I mean, women, they're like, that's another thing. It's just like I feel like I've, like we're all humans. Like, I mean, I feel that about women. I don't really think that there is discrimination against women in film. I have had like counterparts tell me that they feel that there is. I just don't think so. I really don't think that. I think that it's what I'm trying to say is I think that it's getting to a point where just even talking about like women making movies or black people making movies or like Asian people making. I mean, I think that's getting passé. You know what I mean? That's the point I'm getting at is that. Once again, we're all human.
So what's the one thing that you think everyone should know about living a creative life?
I think getting your mind into a relaxed, joyful state of mind, I think that should be the top priority for anyone who wants to be creative. The thing is, getting in a creative state of mind. I mean, everybody has that creativity, but getting into a really creative state of mind where you can be free is like getting to this state of mind where you are free of fear and worry and sort of self negativity or whatever people go through. I mean, I think that's why a lot of people get on drugs and stuff, to just be able to get to that space for a few minutes or whatever, that space of sort of this relaxed freedom in your mind. And I think that in this day and age where we are constantly getting information and where things are moving really quickly, that it's really important to figure out how to do that, either through God or meditation or like laughter or the beach. I mean, that sounds so simple, but really it's like a therapy for not just creativity, but just like even for sanity, really. Like, just getting yourself to that space however you can, as often as you can, and then you're going to be a really powerful creative, and you're going to make those things materialize in your life faster, those things that you want, whether it be just even your art project or success for your art project or whatever it is. Like it's getting to that place.
Where can people find out more about you, about your company, about your projects?
They can go to seastarfilms.com. That's SEASTARFILMS.com. Mm-hmm. Or they can go to the Global Trend News, www.globaltrendnews.com.
Cool. I really appreciate you coming on the podcast. I really do. Yeah.
God, I hope it was good.
Yeah, it's good.
All right, well, thanks so much for everything.
Well, thank you, because this has been really fun, and you are a powerhouse, and I look forward to watching your career.
Thank you.
All right.
All right.
Enjoy. Bye. It's 1,000 degrees in here. Oh my god.